Now we're going to be switching to making the main part of the cabinet and the side of the doors. I have here two pieces of board. The first one is a 1x8, and a 1x8 measures only 7¼ inches across when it's finished. What I need for the sides of my cabinet is 5¾ inch wide boards. If I were to have bought a 1x6, that would be too short. So now I need to use the 1x8 and cut it down. The other thing you'll notice about this board is that there's some damage on it. So if you are a frugal type shopper, sometimes you can get a deal on boards like this that are damaged, where I'm buying a 1x8 and then I say, hey, I want this 1x8 but it's damaged. And sometimes you can get a deal on something like that. The other piece that I'm working with is this 1x10 board, which measures finished at 9�3/8 inches across. Now what I need for the top of my cabinet is a 13-inch board, and the bottom of my cabinet I need a 12½-inch board. But you can't buy those very easily. So what I'm going to be doing is taking the piece that I'm ripping off of this one, the leftover, and I'm going to be matching it together to make my 13-inch board. Now I'm going to be cutting the top and bottom pieces first, and they are 28⅛ inch long. Now it's always good to continuously measure your work to make sure that you are doing the measurements you're supposed to be. I made a mistake here. I was supposed to be cutting this to 40 3/4, and instead I cut it to 41 3/4. Now that's fine because this is still my first piece and I haven't cut any side pieces yet, but that is going to change my calculation for the sides of the cabinet. Now the sides of the cabinet, I need to make sure that they are 42 to give room for the door to swing. But I'm also going to be cutting into the bottom piece just like I did with these door pieces. So I need the sides of the cabinet to be 42 3/8. So I'm going to measure the sides of the cabinets to 42 3/8, and they're going to be that long. Alright, so this is our 9 3/8 inch board, which we've cut down to size. Now I need to cut down the piece that I'm going to be gluing onto it to make for the 13-inch top and the 12-inch bottom. So I'm going to be using this board right here and eventually going to be gluing them up against each other so that I end up with the right size board. Now that I have the pieces measured and cut, I'm going to be gluing the top piece together into a board that's 13 inches wide. I'm going to be gluing it. I'm going to be using this toothbrush here to spread out the glue, and then I'm using these scrap sticks that I grabbed some green packing tape and wrapped around it. The packing tape is to keep these sticks from sticking to the glue so that when I'm done, I'm going to be able to peel them off real easily. I've got some clamps and I'm about to get started, so let's go. Now I know you're thinking, that is a ton of clamps that you just put on that board. And maybe it's a little bit overkill, but I want this thing to be very flat. This is going to be the top piece that everyone sees, and I want to make sure that this board is flat and looks almost like one piece of board. I'm not going to get it perfect because it's got different grains, but this is going to be as good as I can get to get the thing flat. So I'm going to let this rest and then take these clamps off tomorrow. Now that the top's dry, we are going to take the clamps off and do the bottom. Now what I'm going to be doing is cutting the side piece of the door. You'll notice that I'm not going to be measuring the wood here. I'm going to be using a piece of the door to make sure that I get the exact same size that I need for the door. Now this is a lot like what the final door is going to look like. You got the front of the door here, you've got the side of the door here, and you're going to have hinges over here so that it'll swing out like this, and you'll have shelves here for the DVDs. Now this board is too wide right now. Based on my measurements, from the back of the door to the front of the door is supposed to be 6¼ inches. Now I'm going to be cutting into this door so that I can set the side in just like I did when I made the door. And this is 3/8 of an inch. We're going to be ripping this board down to 5 7/8 inches because as we add 3/8 of an inch for the width of the front of the door, you're going to get up to 6¼ inches.